crazy.
All right. I'd like to call the August 8th Township Council meeting agenda to order. Would everyone please stand and salute the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please take your seats. Ms. Loeffler, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilman McAvoy.
Here.
Councilwoman Sullivan.
Here.
Councilwoman Zimbicki.
Here.
Council President Wendell.
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen.
Here.
Administrator Joseph Criscuolo.
Here.
And Township Attorney Michael Baker.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231 Public Law 1975 by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known at the agenda by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Our first item is Resolution 17463, resolution adopting meeting minutes of July 11th, 2022.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on these meeting minutes? Seeing none, Ms. Loeffler, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki.
Yes.
And Council President Wendell.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Next item of business is Ordinance 22-17, an ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick for the acquisition of rights of way, easements, and land in fee simple in Block 320, lots 5.01, 5.04, and 6 in the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, for the public purpose pursuant to NJSA 20:3-1. Mr. Criscuolo, can you give a little background on this?
This is part of Clark Farm. That's to enhance the bikeway that will be going from Crystal Springs to the Art Center.
Oh, very good, very good. This is a
Federal grant.
Right. Grant money to acquire property.
So far, federal grant for everything. The
Great.
study, so on. We're just going to keep reapplying, but this is necessary stuff to get to the next step.
Fantastic, thank you. Any discussion on this from any council?
Yeah, I just have one statement. I don't know if it's a question, but there is, like when I was driving by and I was coming out of Clark Farms, I noticed there's like an indent.
There's a culvert there, yes.
Yeah, is that going,
that's-
how do you do that for the
The
elevator?
engineers will take care of that in
Thank you.
design, yes.
Any other discussion from council on this? Yes, Mr. McAvoy.
This one goes to our attorney, Mr. Baker. Letter F reads, "The township is authorized to commence eminent domain and/or condemnation proceedings if necessary." I love that. I love the vagueness of "if necessary," so please inform us that the Clark family are happy with this particular move and that there will be no eminent domain or condemnation.
Councilman, I anticipated that question, and yes, the Planning and Engineering Department have sat down and met with the Clarks and their attorney. They're awaiting the drawing of the maps by the surveyors and the negotiating with the Clarks. So everything looks to be agreeable, and I can't imagine that we would have to exercise eminent domain unless they wanted us to for some tax purpose, which would be up to them.
Thank you.
Thank you. No other, Mr. Mayor? Yes.
Just wanted to add that in return for the right of using that property, there's work that's going to be done on the part of the township through the grants that we got federally as well to improve a lot of the drainage problems. That will be part of the whole process of redoing that portion of Dunham's Corner Road. So this is a benefit to the Clark Farm as well from that whole federal grant that we just recently received. So I just wanted to make sure that people were aware that the farm is getting a benefit from the town in return for their cooperating with us and allowing that path to go through. And it is an example of the painfully slow process that getting a federal grant actually involves. That grant was approved close to, 6 years ago? And we're still working on
prior
it.
to me arriving.
Right.
And this is just an extension of our bikeways that you've been pushing for, Mr. Mayor, since you've taken office, and also the DEP and all of that grants that we've gotten to build the bridge and design the bridge over the creek and all of that by Crystal Springs. So I mean, this brings the bikeway all the way down to we're actually taking it to the Community Arts Center or just to Heavenly Farms.
To both.
I think we're just going to keep applying until they say, for the funding. We just keep going.
And it's also a safety issue
Right.
because we all recognize that that's a very narrow section, and for people to bike
I've
and
ridden my
walk
bike
it-
down there numerous times. I mean,
Are they going to do the bike on the other side, going towards the baseball fields as well?
No, that a lot of that property is actually South Brunswick.
yeah.
And remember, we just got another grant from Bonnie Watson Coleman through the federal funds, where it's a cooperative grant with South Brunswick, $1.6 million, to work on the drainage and improvements to that roadway with partnership with South Brunswick. I attended a couple of webinars on how to painstakingly go through the process, and Angel, Keith, and I are working on that. Probably would come up again in October, looks like, when the next part of the process needs to get done.
Fantastic. Thank you. Can I get a motion on this ordinance?
So moved.
All right. Second by Second by Councilwoman Zambicki. I'd now like to open this up to the public. If anyone from the public wants to speak on this ordinance only, please step up to the podium. Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. Ms. Lovell, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki,
Yes.
and Council President Wendell.
Yes.
Thank you all.
We're going to move on to our report section. Mr. Mayor, do you have a report?
Thank you, Council President. First, the weather. We all recognize that it's been a brutally hot summer, and we've gotten close to 100 or 100 plus days, several days in a row now. So I did want to remind the public that we do offer cooling stations right here in the Township municipal buildings, so that if anybody is without power or is in the need, feel free to come here to the Township and use this area right here in the building by the court as a cooling station. Also want to point out and thank those that have to work in this type of weather, whether it's our DPW department, Parks and Rec individuals that are working, whether it's with kids in the parks or out in our parks just working on many of our park areas. It's brutal. The garbage men who are picking up garbage, I understand that some of them are just leaving the job in the middle of the day, adding to some of our problems with garbage pickups because they're just saying that's it, they're leaving. Road work that's being done by our contractors, it's just so incredibly brutal to work in these conditions, and so I want to thank them for doing that. I want to ask the public to be patient, but I do think that it's worth mentioning. Are you going to mention anything, Council President, about the redevelopment stuff tonight?
You can go right ahead.
Just wanted to point out that process of redevelopment is moving along, fortunately now at a much faster pace since the decision in the court this past February, which gave us the green light to move forward and ended any of the lawsuits that were being levied against the township. The remaining stores on Route 18 in the first section of development that you've already seen the fences around, those properties are going to be under contract within the next week or two, and plans for the project should be in front of the planning board in September. and demolition in that phase should begin within the next couple of weeks. So since that February decision, I think it's pretty obvious that we've been putting our foot on the gas now that we've been given the green light. And then finally, I wanted to talk about the town halls that I've been doing. I've been trying to get out to the public to give everyone an opportunity to know what's going on in the township, advance some of the issues that people ask about, and get to those questions, and of course to leave time for question and answers. I'm trying to do this in a way that is community driven, so it's being done in the neighborhoods of whatever elementary school your area goes to. It allows people to find a place that's close for them to get to, and to be able to concentrate on issues that are particular to that particular community. So that is going to be going on this summer into the fall, and as long as it's necessary, we'll also be looking at perhaps some houses of worship or some athletic groups, places where there's communities that might have a particular concern, and so we want to try to reach them as much as possible. Those notices will be given out through the alert system, because I do want to make sure it gets directly to those communities, and I'm hoping to see as many people who have questions at those town hall meetings. That's what they are designed for. So that's really my report for this evening, Council President. Thanks so much.
Our Administrator?
Sure, a couple items. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, there was a gentleman here talking about the situation with their mailbox over on, I believe, Bennett. I've been in contact with the postmaster and through Senator Menendez's office investigating. They have no such agreement to provide that for them. It's generally the association's requirement to do that. But they're going to continue to investigate. The postmaster is relatively new. He didn't want to say that there was definitely nothing. He'd asked for a little bit of time to look through the files. He really's only started as a postmaster about a couple months ago. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. And Senator Menendez's office, has reached out to us and is more than willing to help the constituents with the problems with the U.S. Post Office. A lot of roadway paving going on this week on behalf of the Township, PSC&G, and Middlesex County. Roadway paving is taking place over on Victory and Stratford and some of the other roads over there that were part of the gas line replacement project. There's been 6 or 7 police officers directing people on which way to go. I would just recommend the people for this week to 10 days is basically to stay out of the area. You don't need to go that way. It is,
as well as Dunham's Corner Road.
yeah, that's next on the list here. But it is good that all those gas line connections have been made, and at least half of the road on Stratford, part of it is a full road replacement. Some of the roads are definitely full road replacement, and as you know, Mr. Kipp and Mr. Dixon and myself have been working with PSC&G to make sure they get those all done. Middlesex County also last week in the evening, because it's much easier for those people that are working in hot mix to work in the evening. They milled Ruse Lane from Summer Hill to Route 18, milled and paved it in front of the VOTEC, where there was a couple of water main breaks over the recent history and other things. Today they were striping it. They're hoping to have that done today. Middlesex County this evening is starting to pave Main Street from the Sayreville border to Old Bridge Turnpike. There will be a detour up river to Sunburst in order for them to mill and pave that roadway.
But that should go away in
soon 4
or 5 days.
Yeah, a couple days, and most of that work's going to be done in the evening because it's just, as the mayor said, it's just too brutally hot for these people that work during the day. And I'm happy that it's actually going to get done, and the cooperation from Middlesex County to get that water line replaced. I mean, that water line does service the residential community in where Sunburst is. So they're getting benefit from that new water line as well. So just to keep you informed on that. And naturally, as you said, Fern Road, work is being done. You might go past there around the turn where a huge retaining wall is now being put in place, so we can put the sidewalk there, which would be much safer for our residents that are walking in that area. That's a dangerous curve. All the curb cuts are almost done that needed to be replaced with the proper run and rises for handicap accessibility. Also today, I appeared in court for 23 Quaker, and I will ask Mr. Baker to give you a little summation of what actually happened in court when it came to that. Jill Veit represented the township, and the judge, I'll let Mr. Baker explain it to you. That's all I have, sir.
All right. Township Attorney?
So with regard to Quaker Drive, the judge was fairly strict with the property owner. This is the abandoned house that had vegetation growing out of the roof drains, et cetera. It appears that they were fined $2,000 for each of the 4 violations. They were given
$2,000
each. They were given 2 weeks to come back and cure the problems, particularly with regard to landscaping, or they'd be charged $1,000 a day contempt of court. And they were also ordered to register as an abandoned property and pay an additional $500. The judge asked for additional photos to see both current and future condition. It looks like the property owner indicated that property is in a trust. It's under contract to be sold, and it'll be a tear down. And apparently, I'm not quoting the judge, but apparently it was, "That's nice. You're being fined. You have 2 weeks to fix it."
Abate.
Yeah, to abate the problem.
And it particularly remained around the vegetation and so on. The rest of the building, she expects a report on that.
When is the other properties?
Next Monday.
Next Monday.
I will be watching court that day.
Okay.
Also, 9 Wellington was also brought up on that. The woman that owns the property agreed to sign over the cleanup rights to Chase Bank, their property preservation group. So the judge ordered that the lady that owns that property to meet Jill at the Chase location on Route 18 and find out what paperwork was necessary to effectuate that, and wanted a report in 2 weeks on that property as well. And that's been one that's been popping up on occasion. I know the council.
I know there's
for
another
2
one on
years.
Sanford Drive that's been popping up for years and
That's
years.
just an abandoned property. We've been cutting the grass. Yeah. Been leaning the property.
How do we?
She
force
needs to
that property?
register it, so we need to be able to track her
So can
down.
we
It's
write a
interesting that the
we write a
taxes
summons to the property owner that they're not
in compliance, right?
They're not in compliance with the abandoned property.
Yeah, they have to register.
Right.
Do they pay their taxes? Their
Yeah.
taxes are up,
Nine
right?
Sanford.
The taxes, all the
Sanford's
taxes are
always
paid
paid.
on all
So
the
they get the
properties.
bill. Isn't there something?
Or somebody's paying it,
Or
maybe
isn't there some way we
ACH.
could put it in, like the envelope saying that they need to do that? We could put in there?
They've been paying their bill via ACH.
Okay.
The person that's registered too is in California.
Yes, I know that. Yeah, I've heard that before. All right, that's it. Mr. Baker, thank you. Ms. Lawful, any report?
No report, sir.
Okay. Any council, committee, or board reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to our public portion. Ms. Lawful, will you please read the public comment statement?
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. The public may use this opportunity to question any item listed on the consent agenda and request that such item be removed from the consent agenda to be discussed and voted on separately. Only one member of the public should approach to speak to council at a time. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker has finished with their allotted time. It should be further noted that public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond or not respond, or to ask the administration to respond. If the questions require more detailed responses, the council president or administration may ask the member of the public to make an appointment with the appropriate township official during regular business hours. The township clerk will regulate the time during the comment portion of our meeting.
Thank you. Anyone from public wishing to speak? Mr. Whitlock, please.
Vern Whitlock, 694 Old Bridge Turnpike, East Brunswick, New Jersey, 08816. I'm a lifelong resident of East Brunswick, 22 years. Recently, I've seen Facebook and other social media posts regarding, from residents and non-residents, regarding our road work, the detours, the nightly road work, and the jackhammering. They say it disturbs their day-to-day operations, going from home to work to the store to sleep. I just want to say that is a short-term inconvenience for a long-term result. What do I mean by long-term result? I mean new roads, better bike paths, as we voted on here today, will improve the ambiance for newer business, bring newer businesses coming into our town. It'll help reduce car costs. No more potholes, no more flat tires, and possibly improve your gas mileage. With our town, with the administration, council, help from the federal, township, and state governments through grants, have done these repairs with little to no cost to our residents. And the first thing I would like to say is also with the mayor. I want to go on what the mayor said. It is 108 degrees when I left the house in the sun. We have road crews out there. We have parks employees. We have our public roads and contractors out there. So East Brunswick's population is 49,715 people. Those road crews take care of 49,715 people like their family. They go home to their family, then they come in for the 8-hour shift to take care of our township family. So all I want to say to those people on Facebook and to our council is, relax. It's not going to last that long. It's only a 5-day process for Main Street, 6-day process for Fern Road. Just put in some earplugs, relax. You're going to see years of long-term progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitlock. Thank you. Yes.
Eric Johnson, 55 Monroe Avenue. Your last meeting, we had one of my neighbors come up and complain about the speeding down our street. I want to reiterate that. On the 27th of last month, somebody came flying down our street and hit my 2 cars, totaled both of them, and flipped his car on the side, vertical. Both cars were totaled. They took them away. Just this past week, and the other issue she had was people coming down the wrong way. Again, that's true. Every day, 2, 3, 4 people, wrong way. Part of it is people delivering to people's houses. They back out of their driveway, go back down Merle the wrong way. This is constant. With the speeding, it's not just young people, it's middle-aged people, it's commercial people, and it's school buses. Hopefully something to be done with it. And my neighbor, I'm speaking for myself, we have 3 new neighbors that all have kids. We worry about them because they can't play outside. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Council President, I will say, it was brought to my attention about the signage on the one-way do not enter on the one end of the block. I drove that way the morning after our last council meeting. I got in touch with Mr. Reiser, and those trees were cut back considerably, so you got clear view of those signs. I did talk to another resident on that street. He even admitted it's some of their neighbors that actually live there too that don't comply with the one-way. I've asked Lieutenant Gordon to station some people there. They've been there a few times, but they really haven't caught anybody. It's easy to catch somebody going the wrong way, where you can sit down the end of the block. So they'll be on the regular cycle to observe people going the wrong way. On that particular road, hopefully cutting back of the trees for a clearer view of the signage and the speed limit will make it an impact. So we're trying, but as you say, sometimes it's just your neighbors that are doing it as well, and hopefully a little bit of that will be a remedy. I feel bad for you. You lost your 2 vehicles, and I'm sure the police will do proper violations on that.
Mr. School, I'd like to ask you and the administration to talk to the chief and maybe have some more heavily directed patrols
Sure.
on that street for a regular basis for the time being, to see if we can control this and maybe,
Sure.
create some memory type of, driving through the area. So
Absolutely.
if you could speak with the chief, I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public portion, and we'll move on to our consent agenda. Anyone on council have anything that they would like to separate from the consent agenda? We have Resolution 17464 through Resolution 17478. Would anyone like anything separate? Yes, Council Vice President?
17467.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none, can I get a motion for Resolution 17464 through 17466 and 17468 through 17478?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bahal. Ms. Lovell, please call the roll.
Councilman Hall,
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Zimbricki,
Yes.
as well as Council President Wendell.
Yes.
Thank you all.
All right, now we have Resolution 17467, resolution appointing crossing guards in the Township of East Brunswick for the period of September 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. Can I get a motion for this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Can we get a second?
Second?
Second one, Councilwoman Zimbricki. Discussion? Yes, go ahead, Council Vice President.
I would be remiss for not only just approving, but congratulating all of our crossing guard staff. At a time when it is very difficult to staff our schools with teachers and support staff, it's just as difficult to get a team full of crossing guards. But here in EB, we have an extremely professional staff who work every day and often work through very difficult conditions, weather conditions. So a big heartfelt thank you to our crossing guards. Council President.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this this resolution? Seeing none, Ms. Waffle, please call the roll.
Councilman Hall,
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbricki,
Yes.
and Council President Wendell.
Yes.
Thank you, Council.
All right, we're moving on to ordinances for introduction. Public hearing date of September 12th, 2022. We have ordinance 22-18, an ordinance of the Township amending the floodplain management regulations for the Township of East Brunswick by repealing and replacing Chapter 288, Sections 230 through 234, Flood Damage Prevention Ordinance, statutory authorization, findings of fact, purpose, and objectives, and to further adopt flood hazard maps and designate a floodplain administrator. Can I get a motion to adopt this ordinance or motion to approve this ordinance for a public hearing?
Just approving it.
So moved.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Can we get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Bahal. Any discussion on this ordinance?
Council President, if I could give a
Yeah.
little background on it. The legislature in its wisdom and the DEP have required municipalities to adopt new stormwater regulations to help create a more resilient community, and this is those regulations. I want to compliment and thank our municipal clerk for going back and forth with the folks at the department to get this approved. The form of the ordinance had to be approved by the department. So thanks to Tamar and thanks to Mauro and Raj in my office for working through this.
There you go. Thank you.
One thing is, are these all the roads or just our roads? Is it the state roads and the county roads too?
This has nothing to do with roads.
Roads.
This is the flood.
The floods,
This
but I'm
is
saying
flood-
when the floods go, right? The floods on roads, does it,
This is for regulating development.
for development, okay.
Any other discussion? Questions? Seeing none, Ms. Loeffler, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Hall
Yes.
and Councilman McAvoy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki.
Yes.
And Council President Wendell.
Yes.
Thank you all.
We move on to ordinance 22-19, an ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick providing for various general capital improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $104,000. Can I get a motion to have this ordinance as a public hearing for September 12th?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Can we get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman. Any discussion on this? Or
Sure.
or
Over a
Joe, you
year
wanna give us
ago,
little-
we appropriated, or through a CDBG grant, somewhere in the neighborhood of $60,000. When we went out to get the bus, lo and behold, with the price of everything that's gone up, I mean, we went that almost 18 months ago. The cost is now $104,000. This is for the seniors. To replace an old bus, and I would like the council to approve this. One of the buses is getting awfully difficult to repair.
Thank you. Any other discussion from council? Seeing none, Ms. Loeffler, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki.
Yes.
And Council President Wendell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now we move on to ordinance 22-20, an ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 209, Section 209-52, Schedule 13, stop intersections to add a stop intersection on Arbit Road at the intersection of White Hill Road. Can I get a motion for this to be have a public hearing?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Council Vice President. Any discussion on this?
Council President, just a comment. I recall 2012, 2010 being on the Traffic and Safety Board, and I was new to the role that you play on that board, and there was a lot of lively discussion, but oftentimes they felt as if they were not making any headway. So I'm hoping that this just lie to me if you have to. I'm hoping that this started with the traffic safety people, because it's still the same crowd.
Yeah.
I ran into two members of the Traffic Safety Commission group at the county fair, and he's still on the still plugging along, and it's just a credit to our community and the people involved who participate. But it's good every once in a while to let them know that the work that they're doing comes all the way up to.
Well, it doesn't go unnoticed.
Doesn't go.
You know, and that's really the key. You know, you've got volunteers out there discussing different areas of town, and you know, if action doesn't occur, they feel like their work is going unnoticed.
Right.
So, thank you for noting that. Mr. Mayor, you had something to say on this?
I just wanted to add that this particular road, like many in the township, begs the question that we need to look at a lot of our cross-sections and intersections in the township, because as we all know, over the years, with Route 18 becoming so crowded, everybody in the world, especially those now that live in a world of GPS, have figured out how to use all of our roads as cut-throughs, and Whitehall is certainly one of them. Gates, Sullivan, you can go on and on. And it bears the brunt of all the traffic, so then we're there repairing it all the time. Whitehall is actually on our list next year for TTF money to be used to repair that road. And this is one of those intersections. It's clearly one of the worst right now that we've noticed, but I think as we go through the Whitehall process of repaving, the police department will be out there doing their formal investigation of all of the intersections, because the fact is that once we repave roads, what actually tends to happen
becomes a
is
speedway.
people, they speed even more. So our goal is to try to repair the roads, but at the same time ensure the safety of everybody here in town. So the process that the officers will be doing is to actually do a formal investigation of all the intersections on that road when it's done. But right now, this is a glaring problem.
Thank you.
And Council President, remember the council, with their wisdom, approved replacing the water line over there, in which we did. So, we're going to let it settle, and as the mayor said, we're going to use TTF funds next year to do the final.
Yeah, those
final
were the
corner.
grants that we received this year to repave that road.
Correct.
Next year. So, and again, props to our planning and engineering department and our DPW for applying for those grants and receiving those grants, and the state recognizing that we are a community that deserves those grants. So, that being said, any other discussion from council on this ordinance? Seeing none, Ms. Lawful, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Anything for the good of the cause? Anyone?
For the good of the cause. Yes.
Councilwoman?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
You go,
I'm
go,
sorry.
go, go, you go. It's okay, you're a councilwoman, go.
Just wanting to acknowledge and thank Paul Harth and Katie Ng for being part of the East Brunswick Arts Coalition, and looking forward to August 12th and 13th with the Indie Film Festival occurring at the Community Arts Center. So everybody come down and have a look.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Looking forward to that. Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yeah, two things. The first thing is, I just want to say our thoughts are with Mayor Neary and his family. His mother-in-law passed away earlier today, and may her memory always be a blessing and a source of healing for the entire Neary-Grabowski family. And also on Saturday, which I have participated for many years, they have a scholarship fund in memory of a student that passed away that was at Rutgers at the time in playing basketball, just a pickup game. And Mr. Sampson did it every year. He has put together a wiffle ball games, and there's championships, and it's a lot of fun. It's $25 a person. You must bring your own team. It's 3 or 4 people. And it's a good time, and the money goes for a scholarship for a student in town. And I recommend going.
Yes. Been there before. Great day. Listen, I'd just like to thank the Middlesex County Fair Committee on another great fair. What was it, 84 years now? 80 something.
Yeah.
Tremendous event. And I'd also recommend anyone who hasn't tried Cinnaholic in Metuchen to take a ride out to Metuchen and get a Cinnabon. Cinnaholic cinnamon bun. But they're vegan. They're great, but
Plant-based.
This is it's a commercial. But anyway, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Can we get a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you. Good night.